ever dipped a grilled cheese sandwich into tomato soup, you know how well those flavors complement each other. So today we're taking the classic American comfort food and transforming it into a gourmet delight with my super simple tomato chutney. Imagine that gooey, melty cheese you love, now paired with a sweet and spicy kick. Let's get cooking. I'm cooking this chutney today with fresh tomatoes, but you can use canned tomatoes if tomatoes aren't in season. Now I'm waiting for this oil to heat up just a little bit, and the idea of this tomato chutney is to add that sweet and spicy kick to your grilled cheese sandwich, and we're going to do that by adding a few spices. So the oil is heated now. I'm adding in a red chili. This is not the hot version, so don't worry about it. If you have any kind of chili flakes, feel free to add that in. I've made this tomato chutney multiple times for my colleagues when I used to work at my corporate job, and I always got a surprised reaction because the idea of a tomato chutney was new to most people. However, I grew up eating this chutney for dessert all the time. And what makes it different is that it's almost like a sweet and savory combination. And I love that about this chutney. It means that it can go with a variety of different things. Now, the idea is to bloom these spices in this oil so that the spices release their fragrance into this oil, which in turn will help me flavor the tomatoes and create this delicious spicy note. You will know when these spices are ready, when you can smell the aroma of the spices, as well as, mustard seeds do this funny thing where they start to crackle and burst in the hot oil, and that's when you know they're at their peak flavor. Ooh, the mustard seeds are spluttering. Let's add in our tomatoes. If you are in a region where tomatoes aren't in season, I would recommend using canned tomatoes. Use good quality canned tomatoes like San Marzano or something like that. The reason why I love using fresh tomatoes is that they have this unique tartness to them, which really adds to the flavor of the final product. You have this sweet and spicy flavor as well as this sharpness coming from the tomatoes, which is a lovely combination. Now, the turmeric I added here adds some brightness to the dish in terms of color. So this is going to be a bright red color, and it adds a little bit of that earthy flavor that we associate with turmeric. Let's cover it and let it cook till the tomatoes release their water and are completely soft and mushy. Okay, the tomatoes you can see are completely cooked. I can mush them with the spoon. Now, I don't want this to be a complete paste. I actually like the texture of the skins and a little bit of the flesh in the final chutney. I love the chunkiness of it, I love a chunky chutney. Let's add in the sugar and watch the transformation. You can see how the sugar instantly changes the color of this chutney into a darker red color. Now, typically this chutney is cooked with mustard oil, and I think that also adds this spiciness, but mustard oil is hard to find, so I just used a neutral oil today. I would not use anything that is too flavorful as a medium for cooking it unless it's mustard oil, which kind of resonates the same type of flavor that comes from the mustard seeds. And the reason for that is this is already nice and spiced, and we don't want to add other flavors to it to make it even more complicated. I'm going to let this cook away for some time for it to reduce. All right, our chutney is ready. So let's turn this off, and we want this to cool down before we use it in our sandwich. So I'm gonna put it into a bowl. And note that this will thicken further as it cools. So this is not the final consistency of the chutney. All right, let's assemble the grilled cheese. I'm using mozzarella today, We tested out a few different grilled cheeses, and this is the cheese that works best when it comes to that beautiful cheese pull as well as the nice meltiness. American cheese melts well, but it doesn't give you that stretchy effect. So we're using pre-sliced mozzarella. I don't want to use fresh mozzarella in this case because it has too much moisture, which could impact how the grilled cheese is cooked. Now let's apply some of this tomato jam on one slice. Want a thin layer because this chutney packs a punch. Get all the corners. All right, perfect. Now let's layer the cheese slices. Okay, let's put the cheese slices on. I'm using 4 slices of cheese today because it is a grilled cheese after all. I'm going to cover this just so the cheese can melt in the steam that's created. The reason I haven't put the top on is because when I put the top on, the cheese doesn't melt evenly. The sides are melted faster than the center. So this will allow the cheese to start melting, and then I'm gonna put the top on, and that's gonna create a perfect texture. Okay, let's put on the other slice. You can see that the cheese is getting shiny and it's starting to melt in the center. Let's put this other slice on. Make sure that the bread is nice and golden. Could use a couple of more seconds there. Let's butter this other side and then flip the sandwich. Let's take the sandwich out. It's ready. Let's taste it. Come on, Russ.
All right, let's taste it. That is delicious. It's cheesy. The chutney adds so much. It does remind you of tomato soup, but it has its own thing going on and really adds a nice depth of flavor. And good job on the outside of the bread here, nice and crispy.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think the mozzarella works really well with the tomato chutney, and cook the sandwich on low heat so you get that crisp. And the tomato chutney is just such a nice addition to this grilled cheese sandwich. You must try it at home. If you love this video, you're going to love my take on another American classic, the Nashville hot fried chicken. I'll link it for you here.
I'm gonna squat down a little bit.
Okay.
You don't have to.